Morning and welcome back to another video, and today is another day of the 0 to Gold Cap Challenge. Now just stick around and enjoy the video. Okay, so today we are going to be going over a nice little transmog farm, which I thoroughly really enjoy actually doing. Now this one is well known to a point, but today I have been farming up Hellfire Ramparts. Yes, Hellfire Ramparts. Now, the reason being for Hellfire Ramparts is mainly due to the fact that it is very good at giving you a wide variety of different types of BC-esque mogs, and a lot of them actually do tend to sell for a high amount of gold. So, going through this, I've done myself an hour's worth of farming, and quite a lot of them actually go for a decent amount of gold overall. So you've got things like the Rattan Bow Staff, which is like 1,999 gold. You've also got like other things that aren't selling for all that much, like the Fireheart Skull Cap. That's not worth all that much, but the sell rate on it is 0.03. So you do get some high-end stuff that actually sells for quite a bit, and then you've got the lower-end stuff which actually sells faster than regular mog, which is usually 0.01. In the grand scheme of transmog, that is usually what you're going to come across. But when it comes to like ramparts, a lot of this stuff actually has like 0.02s, 0.03s if you go through it all after you've done your farming. So I found this to be quite interesting, and to be honest, it's one of those ones, if you are getting into transmog, I would highly recommend, if you're wanting to get a hold of a lot of BC-esque transmog to pad out, Ramparts is the way to go. So along with that, you also get a lot of netherweave cloth. So in my hour's worth of farming, we actually managed to get a lot of this. And currently in Corthana's bags is 1,113 netherweave cloth. Now I can actually use this in order to send it over to my tailor, and then my tailor can turn that into more mog for obvious reasons that we can then sell on the auction house for even more gold. So that is something we can do moving forward. So alongside that, the best thing about Ramparts for me, and I actually explicitly stated this on my Patreon the other day, and basically it is because it has a high potential of dropping some high-end patterns which actually sell quite well. We have the Insane Strength Potion, which is currently going for 4,000 gold on my server, or a market value of 4,321 gold, as well as the region market value average for that recipe is 3,514 gold. That has a sell rate of 0.02. We also have the Pattern of Bracers of Havoc, which is a lovely 6,225 gold at the min buyout. Along with that, we also have it at the market value of 6,108 gold and the region market value average of 10,405 gold, with a sell rate of course, 0.01. Why do I actually bring this up? Well, Ramparts, in the grand scheme of BC dungeon farming, for farming up transmog, this one gives me the majority of the time a load of recipes that actually sell for a high amount of gold. They have a decent sell rate, and overall is one of my go-to farms if I'm trying to do a recipe farm. So if I'm trying to just gather a load of recipes to sell on the auction house, Hellfire Ramparts is something I would do moving forward. As well as that, you can always do things like the Sunwell. That usually works quite well as well if you're going for recipe farming for high-end recipes. But I find that the Ramparts, because of the ease of use of actually doing this, is basically my go-to for that. So overall, what do I actually think of Hellfire Ramparts? Well, it is definitely one of your go-to transmog farms that you would want to do moving forward, and overall Hellfire Ramparts is really easy to actually run. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to press the little bag cleanup thing, and then we're going to ignore this bag, and then we're going to ignore this bag, and we're going to actually do the run so I can actually show you how I actually prefer to do it. We're going to pull up Loot Appraiser right now, and then we can just jump in and have a look at it going forward. So we've started the actual instance, and personally you can try and do a gather up of all of the mobs, but I tend to not. This is because the mobs actually lose aggro when you're actually doing this run, so I tend to do a fractured farm, and that would be going over to the packs of mobs and destroying them that way, because I find that to be the best way in order to do it. So if you're going to be doing ramparts, you can try and gather up all the mobs, but be prepared that they will de-aggro if you go too far and you can try and gather up too many of them. So it's trying to find the sweet spot for that. Aside from that, I find it easier to just do it this way with my druid and just keep killing them moving forward. And overall, it actually gives me a nice amount of netherweave cloth. If you can actually see in my loot appraisal right now, you can see that I'm getting a lot of netherweave cloth from this. We actually just got another one that's 300 gold, roughly. It's 296 gold to be more precise, but you get my point. It's pretty much one of those farms that you would want to do moving forward, because it has a good variety of picking up loads of additional MOG, so BC MOG, as well as a load of netherweave cloth. If you wanted to do a netherweave cloth farm, this is definitely one of the ones that you would want to be doing, because in an hour's lockout you're able to get so much. And we've just got another breastplate for 446 gold. And quite frankly, if you wanted to get some high value transmog, as well as having the chance of getting some decent recipes, Hellfire Ramparts is still one of the best gold farms to actually do. We just got another green for 382 gold, and what we'll actually do here is we will go to this last pack of mobs and we will actually jump down. Providing you can actually take out the mobs that are at the top of the actual pillar, but I tend to not. I know that is kind of counterintuitive, as we're trying to actually run this to actually go in again, but I tend to find this the best way to actually run this is just to try and make it as efficient as possible and just keep going with my actual lockouts. So I'm able to do a actual run of this instance in about 2 minutes, and that's just by on a casual note with my druid. So there's no speed boost or anything, I'm not using that yet, but overall, I tend to find that I can actually get quite a lot of these actual mobs moving forward. So it's kind of handy if I want to actually gather up a load of different types of greens. As you can see, we're actually getting quite a lot of them, and we're already at like 1,476 gold. Now, providing that my server is a high pop server, and the amount of gold wise that I actually got from this run on the first run, so from at the beginning of the video I showed you what I actually got, that actually came to a value of 30,000 gold for the hour, providing with the recipes dropped as well. So that being the case, what are you likely to expect? Well, as I am on a high pop RP server and is quite predominantly used for transmog farming in general, I am able to get a strong gold per hour for this. So if you're on a medium pop server, or you're on just a standard non-highly farmed transmog server, so such as if you're on ADEU, the transmog values will probably be a bit lower because it's an RP server and it's mainly farmed for transmog on an RP server quite heavily. That is because unique items, people want to make their characters unique when they do RP and all that jazz, so that's why a lot of the actual stuff will actually be a lot less in gold, because the more people farming up transmog on a specific server, the more competition, and thus the actual prices of those transmogs will actually go down. Now, aside from that, there is an upside to being on an RP server when you're actually farming up transmog, and that is because the frequency of sales actually tends to go up, because a lot of people actually do that. So we're actually doing a second run, because I'm actually showing a second thing that you can always do, and that is by going over to these guys over here, taking those out. You can run to the boss. I find that to be a bit of a way you probably wouldn't want to do, but you would want to take out these packs of mobs here, and then you'd be able to want to jump down and all that jazz. But aside from that, it's really not that difficult in order to do. You have just aggroed the boss, so just be prepared about that. He will actually jump down and start attacking you. But at the end of the day, not overly that concerning, and then you want to run out. You can always take out the bosses if you so wish, but in all fairness, they don't drop you anything awesome or anything like that. So what would I actually recommend for Hellfire Ramparts and why? If you are wanting to pad out your auction house, it is a yes. If you're wanting to do recipe farming, this dungeon is a yes. And if you wanted to get a high gold per hour, then that is a yes. Basically, Hellfire Ramparts is an all-round great farming location for specifically TBC. So if you're wanting to do some stuff for BC farming, this should be your bread and butter for getting started when it comes towards transmog and farming up the actual things. So that being the case, guys, that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. I just wanted to give you guys a quick, nice little video on basically what I think is the best BC transmog farm out there. Now, I know a lot of people disagree, but this is just my views in general. Other than that, guys, if you have another suggestion for a better BC farm, I'd like to hear it in the comment section down below. Other than that, guys, have an awesome rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow. If you want to support the channel and help make the channel even better, then why not check out the Patreon? Members get additional info, gold making resources, and Patreon specific content. The link is located in the description down below. Thank you and have an awesome day.